We are live. I'm sorry, guys. I got sidetracked. I didn't realize I was 7 minutes past. So for those of you who've been waiting, I apologize. I didn't realize. I mean, 1 minute is one thing, but to me, 7 minutes is too much and disrespectful. So I apologize, y'all. So I should have been here sooner. Um, Hope everybody's having a good day so far. Um, we got a basketball game tonight that I'm excited about. I'm always excited to watch the team. Um, and some other news that come out today, which may not even be the biggest news now that I've saw. Uh, I didn't even have everything set up right. Um, Now that I've seen the response from the WVU football social media department on the Kelsey comments about the Mayo bath, uh, that made the big. I swear, all of us want to make a video on that. Um, just because a thumbnail. I mean, can I pass up a thumbnail with Travis Kelsey, Jason Kelsey, Neil Brown, and whoever that larger gentleman was that had to throw away Neil Brown's clothes? If I had a good enough setup, I would do a funny thumbnail. Um, so if you want to see, if you guys, anybody here knows how to make really funny thumbnails and wants to send me one with Brown, Kelsey, both Kelseys, and the bigger guy that had to throw the clothes away, it'd be pretty funny. Maybe I'll do a video on it. But the news of the day is obviously West Virginia, on one hand, is ranked in the season for the first time in a long time, guys. Way longer than we West Virginia fans want to admit, right? And that's great. But me, I always focus in on, of course, probably the more negative side of things. And I kind of like what Chris Anderson from 247 Sports had to say, 247 Sports. Um, for the record, the preseason hype for these teams, Tennessee was number 12, Kansas State was 16, Clemson was ninth overall. Kansas was picked middle of the pack, and we were picked dead last. And he said again, hype has impact preseason. These five teams went 9-4 and won their bowl game this year. Obviously, us, Kansas, Clemson, Kansas State, and Tennessee, as mentioned above. And the point to this is, what's the difference between us and them? And so they all got to finish the season in the AP ballot ranked, which the coaches poll to me has always been looked at as just a bit secondary, even though they're probably equal. They're equally weighted in the totality of whatever the poll is or used to be. Um, but at the end of the day, we're still being looked down on, is how I see it, especially from the people that don't know football, which is the AP Bowl. Not everybody doesn't know, but um, the coaches know ball, right? So look at that. Member for 3 months, Sasquatch. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That's impressive, man. Um, can't thank you enough for that, bud. For real. Thank you for your dedication, my dude. Seriously. Mitchell Purdy, no relation to Brock Purdy. I'm sure he's heard that a bunch of times. Um, Liam Wright, what's up, Mountaineer Paul? With all the transfer portal additions and how much continuity the offense will have with everyone returning, I'm getting excited for next season. Maybe too excited. I would say this. Probably we're all going to be overshooting how well we're going to do next year. Because I have concerns about this team. This team did not play well against good teams last year, obviously. But I guess you have to ask yourself: is Xavier Bosley an upgrade over Doug Nestor, or could he be? It'd be interesting. I do think we upgraded at Mandit with um, Ty French over Jared Bartlett as a pass rusher. I think Tyron Bradley is going to be another really good player for us next year. Now that he's going to have a lot of the bulk of the work that can be done, so it'll be interesting on just a couple spots that I see a lot of improvement in. And then the guys we've added on the back end the last couple of month and a half, whatever it's been impressive. They did, John, and that's fair, but they weren't ranked, and that's still not enough, you know. And really, this is all for if you're a coach, you don't mention the 90 votes, John. You mention that you weren't ranked, right? Because if being voted 14th drove this team to do what they did this year, you know, hopefully similar kind of motivation can be because we're always in a better spot as West Virginians when we are looked down on, right? Or told we can't do something. So, at least to me, I feel like this is possibly a good thing. You hate to use the term that we all West Virginians know, at least my dad used to say, you get too big for your britches. We don't want to see that happen. What place did we end up in the Big 12 or in the poll, Daryl? We ended up 25th in the coaches poll, so we did end up ranked technically. So it can't be said the 2023 season went without being ranked. It may be in the very last poll, but it did happen, and that breaks a streak of over 5 years without being ranked, guys. That's a tough pill to swallow, and really almost unbelievable, to be honest. Um, I guess I just have to harken back to some things I was told about when I was in the military, and some of those kind of mindsets for the team because uh, it's going to be needed, and sometimes the consequences you're given dictate a course of action for the future, right? And I think the consequences of the misses they've had in recruiting, they really missed in the off season of 2021 with a lot of guys, and that hurt us, in my opinion, on going into not this past season but the year before. And finally, they were able to right that ship just a little bit. And I'm talking about the back end of the secondary, and I think they really have. I like T.J. Crandall a lot, and he's young, but he has the length, the size, and athletic ability, the hands, the ball skills, almost everything you ask for in a corner. And don't be surprised if T.J. Crandall, midway through the season, doesn't end up being one of the best players on that defense. Absolutely. No, not saying it wasn't, John. It was absolutely. This was more successful than a lot of us thought it would be. Just got a message from Julian Miller, guys, former defensive end at West Virginia University. I'll probably be having Chris Neald on the show. We're trying to contact him. He's not easy to get in contact with. Those of you that remember that 2010 defense, maybe the greatest defense of all time for our West Virginia Mountaineers, definitely up there. He was the nose tackle on that squad, and I loved him on that team and followed him when he went to Washington. So those of you that remember him, trying to get him as the next guest on the preseason on the former player series. Yeah, but I do think Tosh, in some cases, like Washington, is a good example from last year to this year. Everybody knew they were going to be good. They had everybody back. Sometimes teams take a step back that were good with the same team, but it's very rare. Usually injuries play a factor, when that happens. But if you look at this West Virginia team, we have the right pieces back in the right places. The only spots that you absolutely have to have good players that we aren't sure about or is in the secondary, right? And maybe there's no Dante Stills on the defensive line, at least not yet. There could be. There are some guys that we really like. And then if I'm talking about, if I'm ranking where I'm most sure of on this team, number one is at running back, because and I think they might even, and that includes the freshmen, right? Number two is offensive line because we're losing Zach, we're losing Doug, so those are two huge losses. But I still think with the addition of Bosley, and then so that means we just got to get center and guard right now, and I think we will do that. Number three is quarterback with Garrett, and then it's really a tie between linebackers and defensive line for me. Linebackers, it's really hard to rank. It's getting a little hard to rank, at this point. But generally speaking, I do believe the defensive and the linebacker room has a chance to soar up the list, guys. So, and then you start getting into the safety positions, the corner position, um, which the wide receiver room obviously it's solid. It's probably right there in that four range with the defensive and linebacker rooms, right? They're all right there. The wide receiver room with the additions of Day Farmer, and Bray from Oklahoma State have a chance to step up. I told you guys on tape, I'm not blown away by Bray. He reminds me of a Bryce Ford Wheaton type player, but he's never had that kind of production. So we'll see. But certainly he's a proven player and has had some success. Never any more than 3 or 4 touchdowns, I think, in a season. So it's not like we're getting some huge impact player there. I do think Day Farmer has a chance to be the best receiver on the team next year, though. In his first year, it might seem crazy, but go watch that kid's tape. Wow, man, Sasquatch, you do me good, man. I appreciate that. He gifted 10 Mountaineer Paul Talks football memberships. That means that this channel will randomly select. That means this channel is going to randomly select 10 of you guys to get new members. So, everybody in the chat room, comment because it will light you up and let me know. So, Fester is a new member. Thank you, Fester. Thank you, Sasquatch. Really, really cool, man. It means a ton. It really does, dude. When I was in the Army, ESPN called us Virginia almost the whole. I remember that. I do remember that. That was a way back a few while ago. Timothy Green is now a channel member. How about that, man? My big my big fan Timothy. Um, West Virginia can't get beat bad by the good teams and can't lose to the teams like Houston and get the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, I think that's obviously the Houston. If that game doesn't happen, we win 10 games and probably do end up in the top 15. But you really can't say that for sure because if we win Houston, do we play in NC State instead of in North Carolina? The team we played in the bowl game would have for sure been better. So you can't just chalk up. You can't say if we beat Houston, we would have beat 110 games really because we don't know then who we would have played in the bowl game. Does that make sense to everybody? Because there was a couple teams we just didn't want to see, based on the matchup, and that's basically we didn't want to see a team with a good run defense and a team that would force us into obvious passing situations. I still think Our receivers improved throughout the year, but if we really had to sling it against a really good defense, I think we would have been in trouble last year still. And Oklahoma kind of showed that, unfortunately. Thanks, man. Drew Brack says, thanks for gifting. Yeah, that means a lot, Sasquatch, though, for real, dude. Yeah, there's 49 people in the chat room. If everybody could just say something, or if you've been gifted a membership, only a couple of you guys have spoken out that I can see. If you got a membership gifted to you, can you just kind of comment down below, guys? Let me know who all got a membership. I can go look after the show, but um, I'm not exactly. It just randomly does it. I don't have a say in it, which is good because that'd be a headache to try to figure out who to give them to. Trying to see here. Maybe if I had, yeah, maybe if I had a laptop on me right now, it would. What's up, Koo? Sasquatch just gifted out 10 memberships, which is pretty cool. Coos, do you know how that works, man? Does it just randomly go to people? Oh, okay. Gotcha. Interesting. So I guess it would go to a subscriber that could, maybe isn't watching, but that could be thousands of people though. Okay. Interesting. Thanks, man. All right. Well, um, so let me know what you guys. I want to hear some preseason predictions in the comments for next year. What realistically, where realistically should this team be? Um, do you guys feel like this is a playoff team? Do you guys feel like this is a team that can flirt with the playoffs? Do you feel like it's a team that can? Obviously, a Big 12 championship team is a playoff team at this point. Um, and if you look at how many group of or, or five, I guess you can consider now, power four, not, I meant to say power four, teams are getting in compared to group of five teams, I think we stand a good shot, and depending on how the Big 12 lays out next year, I know some people don't believe this, but don't count out the Big 12 possibly getting two teams in. It could happen. Now that Utah and Arizona have joined the league, they are favorably looked upon nationally. Now that they joined the Big 12, which is why I truly believe that they need to rename the conference and rebrand it. Personally, I don't know why Yormark hasn't done that yet. Maybe he will this off season. Maybe they're getting to work on that right now. But I do think we need to go away from the Big 12 name. And maybe that'd be a good title for a video or a good topic for a video because it's just this conference is looked down upon a little bit, uh, not in basketball, and maybe that's the argument against it. But generally speaking, I think that this branding in football should change. I don't know what to what, but something cool. Got a super chat here somewhere. Jacob Yoho, what's up, brother? Anything on Noah K? Uh, are you talking about? Are you talking about the guy that went viral for his name, Jacob? Is that what you're talking about, man? My apologies. I'm not exactly sure. We just had a bunch of comments come. Don Johnson says he thinks we have a very good chance to be a very good team next year. He thinks Neil's program overall is very good. Truly believes that the players overall like to play for him, and we are solid Big 12 contenders. Thanks, Don. Mountain Man says it's a tough schedule next year. Timothy Green says 8-4, possibly 10-2. Channel member. Timothy Green. Mark Matsumoto said the NCAA is a bunch of globalist Fig Newtons. I do like Fig Newtons a little bit, but not the NCAA flavor. Shouldn't be in the picture for the Big 12, says Drew Brax. But our conference schedule is tough. Absolutely. Tyler Cobb, channel member. Floor is a little lower than 9. We have a tough schedule, even with this good team. I see a 7-5 and a ceiling of 11-1. Wouldn't that be something? Steve Kill, 8-9 in the Big 12 is not going to be strong enough to get multiple teams in because of SEC and Big 10. Well, I do think there's a shot based on the preseason ranking of. It depends on who it is, but I think Arizona is going to be a top 10 team going into next year. So let's say they go undefeated all year, get to the Big 12 championship game, and then another team in the Big 12 loses one game, maybe. It would take two teams having 1 or 0 losses playing each other in the Big 12 to get in, because I think you're going to be, there are going to be some 9-win teams getting the playoff. I do believe at some point in the 12-team playoff era. And it depends on from what conference, obviously. So if the Big 12 can have a team with 2 teams with 10 plus wins at the end of the season, I do think that we'll have a shot. But it's going to vary year to year, obviously. Tosh Miller coming through clutch. Bama 25, Silas Fester, Trey Sargent, John Waters, Matthew Swanson, Kalen Davis, John Cunningham, Timothy Green, and Jay McClanahan are 10 people. How did you find that out, Tosh? Does it say? You fat fingered a few letters. I read that completely different at first, Don. I thought just change the word fat to got, and you'll see where my head was. I ain't racist. I Noah Kaniga. I think that's how he pronounces it, correct? Bring on the tough schedule. That's what a good team wants, says WV Football Going Deep. Check out his channel, guys. He does excellent work. Follow, watch the video of 2 guys who made their idealistic conferences. I know it's a bit different of a video, but I'd love to see how your ideal conferences would look if you could just reset college football. That'd be fun. I'd have to sit down. Obviously, if you want to talk about the most fun conference, geography plays a factor. But I mean, would I take a Washington in my conference? Yes, with the coach and crew they got together right now, I think Washington would be a fun addition to any conference. But obviously that would be a tough travel. But they're just off the top of my head a team I think would be fun to play against. But mostly it would be there'll be some nostalgia involved with the older teams that we played. Obviously, I think Penn State in a conference with us would be so fun, year in and year out. Um, I think WVU overall, people don't talk about it a lot because it will never happen. But in the Big Ten, I think WVU would be really fun. We could travel to almost every game until you start getting up into like maybe Nebraska, some up in there, Iowa. You start getting pretty far away. Obviously now with USC and UCLA, but um, you know any of the teams. I mean, you can go to Rutgers, you can go to Northwestern, which is just in Chicago. It's not very far away from me. Um, anyway, there's a lot of cool Big Ten teams that I would love to be in that conference. I think it's very underrated as far as for us, but we'll never get there. Don't want to get ahead of ourselves. Know what you're talking about. Read an article on Athletic that gave us preseason top 25. Yeah, they did. They don't really count that. I mean, they're not one of the three major, you know. Who is stopping Garrett Green and Jaheim White on the new college football video game? WVU is going to be a fun team to play with on there, says Jordan Cruz. I got a couple content creators up in here right now, man. Everybody's waiting on the game, which, by the way, that's 13 minutes away, guys. We'll get a couple more comments in, and we'll move on to that. Don't forget to like the video, guys. There's 63 in here. If you're watching it right now, and the chat menu is up, if you X out of that and just hit like really quick, that would help me out a ton. Just doing that. And if you're watching this after the fact, guys, just type a comment in the box. You can even say how pretty I am if you want, and I promise you it'll help this video do better. Let's see. Yeah, what Marcus Amato said. Oh, Sasquatch, man, you're killing me. Why do I forget so often, man? I'm gonna have to do something about that because it's just it's ingrained in me when I make a regular video without going live to do the sponsor thing because it's part of my process. I'm gonna have to come up with a process for live because if I don't, I'm gonna, you know, you're right. Let me do that real quick. This episode of Mountaineer Paul Talks Football is brought to you by Dutch Miller Automotive, where friends and family pricing means you get the best deal right up front on any new or pre-loved vehicle in stock every time. With brands like Chevrolet, Chrysler, Dodge, Ram, Jeep, Kia, Hyundai, Ford, GMC Buick, and Subaru, the Dutch Miller Automotive family is always growing and ready to put you in the car or truck you've been searching for. Check out our inventory across West Virginia at DutchMillerAuto.com or come in today to the home of friends and family pricing. Only at a Dutch Miller Automotive store near you. I had to take a deep breath for that one. A little bit of a mouthful. Yeah, Jim. So I spoke with Elijah quite a bit, and well, actually, let's see if I can just throw something in here in the. I'll give you something a little bit exclusive. Let's see. I hope that's it. I think that's it. Yeah. So there's my conversation with Elijah Hills. This was the day after his visit. Um, this was him talking about WVU being his dream school. And this was on the tail end of a conversation he and I had about. I knew the day after his visit that he wasn't going to choose WVU. And it's basically he didn't feel, I think West Virginia didn't make him feel wanted, to be honest. So, and it's unfortunate because I think he's going to be a really, really, really good player. And unfortunately, man, Wisconsin made him feel wanted, and we didn't. And he wanted to come here. And I don't know the details. All I know is he's in Wisconsin, and that's where he went. And other people have told me that it was a West Virginia decision. He didn't even actually technically count as a visit when he came. So why would he feel like he was wanted here? You know, so I think we missed with him. As far as voicing, he had an issue with credits and also really wanted to stay home. He's already been recognized nationally. Obviously, he was rated as the top player left in the portal when we were looking at him. And so if he's got that much recognition at South Alabama, he's probably going to have a chance at the NFL, the way I was told he looked at it. So while he would have came to West Virginia had the credits worked out, they didn't work out. So those two players, unfortunately, West Virginia missed on. Singleton is in Oregon State. West Virginia lands obviously three players, which I think is pretty good, right? So Am I right on? Is it 3? My head spins from all this anymore. But obviously, you've got uh, Taj from Old Dominion. You've got um, Jackson from Bosley from Jacksonville State. Taj from I'm forgetting Taj's last name, and I just talked to him on the phone earlier from Old Dominion, and then obviously the kid from Troy, Jackson. So 3 overall players, and they're all 3 starter potential. So I well the thing is going deep on that. Um, yeah, Rael, thank you. Um, they don't play the same position, but it's a numbers thing with the scholarships, like you were saying, and the visits. TJ Jackson had done it against Power Five competition and Group of Five competition. Go put on the Kansas State tape, or I mean the South Carolina tape with TJ Jackson. He dominated that game. He also dominated Marshall and Ali in that running game they had that's top 5. Go put on TJ Jackson versus Marshall, and you'll see a player that dominated. So he's a really good player. He's going to slide right into that wide defensive end spot. And at 260, 280, he can set the edge. And he's obviously great with his hands, guys. He's got a club and a swim move to die for coming off the edge. And he's got pretty good bend for a guy that's only 6'2, 280. Rael, yes, told me that they're recruiting him to either play boundary safety or I talked to him on the phone for 20 minutes yesterday. Really pleasure to talk to him. He's a very smart kid. And something I told Coos yesterday, which I can say now, they play the same defense at Old Dominion, almost exactly. So when Shadon Brown came to talk to him on visit, um, he pulled up a play on the iPad, and Rael knew it because they ran it. So it's going to be a seamless transition for him. Look for him to have an upper hand early in camp because of his easy transition from one defense into this. He's not sure if spear or boundary yet, though, Jordan. Channel member Andrew Smith, what's up? So hopefully that answers your question, Jordan. Watch party for the basketball game. I could turn it on. Yeah, for sure, man. I do. I agree with that. Um, I think we're in a better spot, obviously, for the back end now. So we'll just see how it all comes together. And don't forget, guys, we got that spring window. We'll certainly we'll have a shot to pull in some more guys and hopefully another receiver. Would love to land a great center out of the portal, but at the end of the day, you never know. Um, thanks, Jordan. It's that time, guys. The basketball team's going to be tipping off here shortly. I've got to catch my breath, and I'm listen. I got to lose weight, guys. I went to the doctor today. You know, I keep everything real with you guys. I've got a lot of medical issues trying to creep up on me. If I don't get them taken care of, I don't know how much longer I'll be able to do this because my body won't let me. So, um, you guys say a prayer for me. Um, I got to start losing weight, and it's going to be tough. You know, I'm over 400 pounds. It's not healthy. I know that. You know, it's scary, but at the end of the day, a lot of this is self-inflicted. So just keep me in your thoughts, guys. I got a lot of work ahead of me, but we're going to do it together. So that said, thank you guys for everybody for coming on and joining me as always. You guys mean a lot to me, really do. You guys have been friends that I never thought I would have. So at the end of the day, man, thank you guys once again. Like I always say, don't forget to subscribe, like, and do all the things. So um, let's go Mountaineers. Let's go drink some beers, even though I don't drink anymore. Um, and let's watch these guys run K State out of the freaking gym tonight. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Mountaineer Paul Talk Football. This episode is over. Thanks, guys.